got her in and she wasn't faced with that back gate, she fell right in. So it's a great thing to have an older heifer that's calm and that you know really well, but it's harder when she tries to stretch herself out a little bit for you. But you did a great job today. No big points for improvement. The next young man does a good job. This heifer was one that liked to come, she liked to swing herself a little bit in and out of line. And there were a couple times when she got back a little further than some of the other heifers. There were a couple times when her front legs were placed very close together, and I'd widen those up or stagger them just a little bit when you set her up. But my young man, you are very, very professional in the ring, and I commend you with the command and the overall poise that you have as a showman. I think you are a tremendous showman. You'd be welcome to show cattle for me any day. The next young man in the lineup, I'm very impressed with this young man because he has a great knowledge of what's going on around him. I don't know how many times I saw him help the young lady with the heifer in front of him in the ring, and that means so much to me. I think there were times that when you're leading out, especially in a big class, you don't have to be against the wall. Please don't be right up against the wall, but don't come out middle because that prevents the judge from seeing the whole class. And there were times when she's a little growl, but she was trying to bop out in the middle with you. That's the only thing I would significantly change there. Great cute performing showman. I hear we have seniors next, and they need to gear up because we're going to do things a little bit different for them.
Well, congratulations in the intermediate division. Over here in your Brahmin Showmanship, champion went to Bailey Malone, reserved to JC Scholes. Again, congratulations to those exhibitors. We're now going to bring in the senior division of Brahmins. Over here in ring one, we're going to get started in just a couple minutes with your junior Santa Gertrudis show. He's Well, we're about ready to get started with your junior Santa Gertrudis show over here in Ring 1. We'd like to welcome your judge, Miss Lindsay Utter of Marietta, Oklahoma. Lindsay works for Cultivate Agency, where she is an account executive. She attended Casper College and South Dakota State University, where she was on the judging team. She grew up on a diversified livestock operation in southeast Wyoming and is now a manager for 7K Red Angus, a purebred seed stock operation in southern Oklahoma. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together. Welcome Miss Lindsay Utter to the Oklahoma Cattlemen's Congress. Currently in the ring, we've brought in your first three classes as single entries. We're now going to select a champion reserve heifer calf.
Well, good morning over on the Santa Gertrudis side. First and foremost, I know I wasn't originally on the docket to sort these, but I'm happy that I was able to make it work to come up and evaluate your junior Gerts. We went ahead and brought all the single entries out for division. To me, that just makes the most sense. But as a whole, I think a very good set of young heifers. I'll talk about them individually and then go ahead and select your calf champion. The heifer out of the first class, I like this heifer in terms of her density and stoutness for her size, especially at the ground. She's a bigger footed heifer. I love that heifer in terms of her rib shapes and how robust she is. Yet she's still plenty stout out into her hip and pin set. And when you get that heifer on the move, I think of the three, she's the one that's probably the most comfortable in the way that she's assembled, and especially down at her pasterns. I think there's a lot of quality and future in that heifer. The heifer out of the second class, I love this one's length and femininity. She's very refined about her head shape and how smooth she is into her shoulder. I love this heifer's length, the spine. When you compare her to the two heifers on either side of her, her body shape for me, she just reads a bit more tubular. I also read that heifer to be a little bit more later maturing, and I think as she develops, that'll come. But just today, I question her in terms of her body shape. And the heifer out of the third class, um, some elegance and refinement about her front end as well. I love this heifer in terms of the angle to her shoulder and her knee. She too is more correct in her body shape, and I like that, especially into her rear rib and flank. For me, the question on this heifer comes in her rear pastern. She's not wanting to handle him. Is comfortably there at the surface, but I see a lot of future and brood cow potential in this heifer. So with that being said, I think each of these heifers will have a bright future for these young exhibitors. I'll go out and select your calf champion. Thank you.
Well, congratulations over in the Girt Ring. Your heifer calf champion will come out of class one. That was back number 1001, exhibited by Luke Nelson with LN Mary Francis. And congratulations, reserve heifer calf champion will come out of class three. That's back number 1004, also exhibited by Luke Nelson with JT Jolene K02. We're now going to bring in class four over here in the juniors Girt Ring.
Over here on the Santa Gertrudis side, I'm going to leave these heifers how they come in. I'm going to start with this young lady's heifer right here in front of me. I think just from a balance and femininity standpoint, this is where this heifer has the advantage. um, She's one that's more relaxed in the angle to her shoulder, and her head sits up higher out of the top of it. And then from the side, her lower body shape just reads more maternal, especially back into her rear rib and flank. And when you get in front and behind the cattle, she's just more genuine in her skeletal width. That's why I like to use her over the young lady's heifer. The young lady's heifer in second has the advantage in terms of performance. I think as a mature size, she's going to be a little bit bigger. I like like how long bodied and level top she is. From the balance standpoint, I'd like to see this heifer um just have a little longer neck, and it sets up her head sets up right at the top of her shoulder like it should. I just read her to be a little straighter in her shoulder. When you get behind her, she just needs a shot more punch and dimension from behind, but I think in the end it's going to be a very good cow for that young lady. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations. Back over in the junior girt ring, results out of class 4. First place exhibited by back number 1005. That's Micah Mikolacek with Malibu's Martini. And second place was exhibited by Maven Mikolacek with Miss CF Kathy 296. We're now going to bring in class 5. Following this class, we'll bring in those first and seconds for your yearling division champion in reserve.
Single entry over on the girt side, and I think there's a lot of quality in this heifer, especially at the ground. I love her foot size and the angle to her pastern and her knee. And as you work your way up, she just reads as super maternal in her body shape. She's starting to drop down a nice, pretty udder, and as she gets into production, it'll be super useful. But I really like that thing in terms of maternal and quality. I look forward to getting her back out here for the division.
Well, congratulations. Back over here in the junior Santa Gertrudis ring. First place in class 5. We'll go to Luke Nelson with LN Carmelita. We're now going to welcome in those first and seconds. Select the champion reserve in your yearling division.
Over here in the girt ring, there's not a ton in terms of numbers, but of the quality that we have here is actually really good. And all three of the heifers out here have some quality and some functionality to them. And as these young exhibitors get them incorporated into their herds, I think they'll each of those females will have a spot for those junior exhibitors. And so for me personally, it comes down between the two class winners, and I read some similarities in them, and yet there's some slight differences for me when it comes down to for me, it comes down to their front end structure and how they utilize that. But standing ringside, go ahead and give these Santa Gertrudis exhibitors a round of applause, and I'll get you a division champion.
Well, congratulations in our yearling division for your junior Gert show. Your champion will come out of class 4. That was Micah Mikolacek with Malibu's Martini. Reserve champion will come out of class 5. That was Luke Nelson with LN Carmelita. We're now going to welcome in your final class here in our junior Gert show. This will be class 6 in your senior female division.
To be honest with you, over here in the Brahmin ring, I honestly think I'd rather judge 5 classes of cattle than 1 class of showmanship, just because I know what it's like to be on the other end, and I know how much work these folks have put in. And I also know that I don't know these kids. You know these kids, and I see them for 10, 15 minutes at a time in short stretches. And I've got to make a decision, and that's my job, and I accept it. But I just want to say that I am very, very impressed with each and every person. I don't say that everywhere. I've judged some showmanship in places where, there were 2 kids that kind of had a handle on it, and the rest of them, God help them, they just needed some help. They just needed some instruction, and they needed some time to get better. And what I see out here in front of me are young people that know what they're here to do, and they are trying. They're working hard, and they're not just trying, they're getting the job done. You could tell that when we switched cattle, and we had cattle, frankly, all with pretty good temperaments, but you saw some differences in how people approached. I told the first ones we changed, I said, we're not in a rush. Take your time when you take the next one. And on the bull, the young man who has the bull was very kind. I said, what instructions do you have for the person taking the halter? Because let's face it, some bulls like their nose lead pulled, others you pull their nose lead and they're out of here. So there were some issues there. And I just want to commend this group of young people for your professionalism, and you really, really handled that extremely well. This is where I once again point out that this is the most subjective part of judging any show, is judging showmanship. Obviously, we're all looking for the basics. We want cattle that come to the ring, that are set up, that are set in a place in the ring positioning where they can be seen. We want you to help other exhibitors. If you need help, ask for help. I do not like it when people pull and tug on cattle. That's time to ask for help, not to pull and tug. You're not helping a heifer or a bull or a steer by giving the judge the look of somebody hanging on to them and pulling for dear might. That's not a good look for anybody. So ask for help if you've got somebody around, and the judge will understand. The judge may even walk up and help you if everybody else is busy. So I would just keep that in mind. I think that overall, when we changed halters, what was I looking for? Why do I do that? Well, obviously, when you're in training with a heifer, especially these older cattle, they kind of have autopilot. You're used to them, they're used to you. You grab the halter, they know your smell, they know your touch, and things just kind of roll. But to take a different halter of one you may never have seen before, shown every day, is a little bit different. And so I basically watched what you did, how they took the halter. Did you take a second to look? You didn't have to walk around, look at the animal, but did you assess what you were working with? And did you make changes? If you pulled out and led out, did you lead to the right? And there are several really good showmen in this class that have not learned that basic rule. Lead to your right. You never do a circle turn to your left. Pops you out of showmanship. And for most judges, there are times when you have to. I get that, and do what you got to do to make your animal look the best. But the general rule is lead to the right. And I understand if you're standing here, that means you got to lead all the way down and back. It's an opportunity, people, for the judge to see your heifer or your bull. So look at it from a little different frame of mind, and I think you'll get where we're coming from there. Okay, I've been told I have to pick six, and that's not easy, right? First of all, I really like more than six of the showmen out here. And frankly, on any given day, I could see myself using a different showman. But the top, there are really eight that I'm really kind of like. And as you can tell, that's not a great start, but it is a start in my mind. So as we look at these top eight showmen, I would say that any one of those eight could show cattle for me any day. I'd say the ones that aren't the top eight, I think you're still a good showman. I think it got some potential. I wouldn't have said what I said at the outset of the class. But what I'm going to do right now is go shake hands in the order of the folks um, as I see them today. And please note that if you're second or you're third or you're fourth, there'll be your day. I grew up with three brothers, and we all won showmanship on different days. It was just whose day was it? And you just got to grow up, buckle up, Buttercup, put your big girl or big boy pants on, and understand some days you're going to win, some days you're not. That doesn't mean you're a great showman or you're not a great showman. It just means that's the way the judge saw it that day. So I want you to put that in perspective and understand that I'm impressed. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pick my first, and frankly, there are several young ladies and two young men in particular out here that have rocked it the whole morning as I've seen them. And I'm not gender biased. I pick girls, I pick boys, I don't care. But there's one young man who has not made one mistake, not even a little one. And I think what I was most impressed with was when he took the halter of the heifer, he took the halter of, you made her look even better. And that's the kind of showman I want sticking cattle for me. Congratulations. Good job. The second young man has a bull over here, and this dude is on the ball. I don't know if you've watched him show all day, but this guy could lead 20 head in the ring and not even show it. He's not at the same time, obviously, but you do a great job. Very, very proud of you. Good job. Okay, we've got several other folks here who are simply outstanding. This young lady right here, best job leading cattle of anybody out here. Great job. You showed me what they could do every time you led one to walk. Another young lady, absolutely incredible, right here. Yeah, she's pretty sweet too. But I have a feeling you could do a good job with another one. When we changed halters, you did. So great job. Okay, come on out. You're next. So congratulations, young lady. Beautiful job all day. You're up there. I'll tell you what. Don't box in a corner because you'll find your way out. I noticed that. So there you basically have my top group that I want to start with. And for the other group here, we have our six. Are we good? So that's what they told me I had to do. And I just want to say that I'm really proud of everyone out here. You didn't do anything that was a major faux pas. Very, very impressed. And there are parts of the country and places you could show where that would be the case. So great job. Thank you for having me judge your show today. I've really enjoyed it. And best of luck to all the exhibitors in the winter show circuit.
Over here on the Gert side, there's just a single entry in this senior division, and I know it's cliche that they always say that, but the one that could stand some competition. But I actually really like a lot of things about this cow, the way she's assembled about her front end, her balance from the side, just the way that this thing's built and assembled is really good. She's got a really nice heifer calf at side that we've already seen in the calf division, but a heifer or a cow that this young man's put in production and is doing her job, and certainly commend him for that. So give this young man a round of applause, and we'll see them back out for the grand drive.
Well, congratulations over in Ring 1, your senior champion in our junior Santa Gertrudis show. First place went to back number 1008. That's Luke Nelson with SP Mary Alice. Well, at this time, we're going to bring in all of your division champion and reserves. And our judge, Miss Lindsay Utter, will be selecting your grand and reserve grand champion, junior female. Back over in the Brahmin ring, we have concluded your Brahmin junior show for this morning. Congratulations in the senior division. Your champion was the champion senior showman was Cody Stelnacker. Reserve champion went to Landon McFarland. Third place was Adrian Thibodeau. Fourth place, and congratulations, Katie Taylor. Fifth place was Laura Cooper. And sixth place was Brenna Hilson. Again, congratulations to those exhibitors. We're going to get started with your Junior Beefmaster show here in just a few minutes. Also back in the intermediate division from the showmanship this morning for our Brahmin exhibitors. Your champion was Bailey Malone. Reserve was JC Scholes. Third was Bryn Caldwell. Fourth, and congratulations, Branham LaRue. Fifth place, exhibited by Molly Cotrere. And sixth place was Isaac Zavala.
Like I said earlier, there wasn't a ton of numbers here in the Gert show, but in terms of quality, I'm really happy with the three that we have out here. Each of them amplify some of the good that this breed has to offer in terms of some growth and performance. And all three of these I read as maternal and feminine in their own rights. And so as young exhibitors, you should be proud of the cattle that you've brought here to Oklahoma City, and I wish you guys the best of luck as you get rolling into the spring shows. So I won't talk them individually. We've already done that. But for me, I think logically there's some things just that fall into place for me. And so I'm going to go ahead and select your Grand Reserve champion, Santa Gertrudis female. Thank you guys for having me. Give these kiddos a round of applause.
Well, congratulations. Your grand champion junior Santa Gertrudis exhibitor is Luke Nelson with SP Mary Alice. And congratulations, reserve champion will come out of our middle division. That was Micah Mikulacek with Malibu's Martini. Well, again, congratulations to our junior Santa Gertrudis exhibitors. A special thank you to our judge, Miss Lindsay Utter. Those folks are going to head to the backdrop. We'll get started with our open Santa Gertrudis ring in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to get started over here in Ring 2 with your Junior Beefmaster show. We're excited to welcome back to the ring Mr. Brandon Callis of Minco, Oklahoma. We will be getting started with Class 1 here in the Beefmasters. These are heifer calves born on or after September.
Awesome way to get the Beefmaster show started with a very nice pair of promising heifer calves, and I'm going to leave them like they came in, and use the red heifer here at the front of our line. The word correct, I think, really fits her. Her feet and legs are correct. Her angles and the way things sit together are very, very correct. And then she's got the extra look in terms of her head and neck set. Her length of body is good, but yet that one still has some evidence of power and some shape. Her rib cage and the way things are designed. She's one of those ones. The longer you look at her, the more you like her, and you see just a very, very high ceiling with her as you project her on down the road. So neat heifer here to lead us off this morning. Black heifer going to have here in second. I still like this one in terms of her basics and fundamentals. She's so opened up in terms of her center body. She's good in the amount of muscle that she has, and she too is still sound and still good on her feet and legs. She's got some bone to her. Maybe rotate her knee and shoulder into her a little square up front. She doesn't handle her hip posture probably as elegantly, as neatly as what that class winner does, but that's still a very, very nice pair of cattle to kick off our show.
Well, congratulations over here in the Beefmaster ring. Results out of Class 1. First place was exhibited by Maddox McCollum, and second place will go to Vicente Garza. Now in the ring is Class 2 here for your Junior Beefmaster show. Well, ladies and gentlemen, here in the Jim Norick Arena, we're going to get started over here in Ring 1 with your open Santa Gertrudis show. We're excited to welcome your judge, Alan Good of Maybank, Texas.
Little first show jitters here over in this class, and a good trio of cattle to get to study here. And I'm going to leave them just like they're standing here. All three are different. All three of them have some class leading advantages. And so as we project these ladies out here, to me, this one that leads off her smoothness, again her angularity. I think she's more correct in her shoulder and knee versus the one right in behind her. She's got the more attractive hind leg that sets down very good there at the ground in terms of her joints, and her length is good. She's quite a bit greener probably than the other two heifers, and I like to open her up in her forerib and center ever so slightly. What saves her for me is when we watch these cattle go from behind, that one still has some skeletal width. She's still correct and square there at her base. No doubt about it, the stouter heifer of the pair is here in two. Really bold, really shapely there, and I do appreciate that quite a bit. Just wish we could do something different there with her shoulder and knee angle. I want to see her just a little more attractive in the way she sets out of her hip and rear leg versus your class winner. You may hang in there with this one. She's wanting to be a little cantankerous today, but that sure is an awesome body, big hip. She's probably as good and smooth out to her hip and pins as anything in this class. Just got to get her to act and cooperate a little better, and she's just a touch quicker maybe in terms of her kind there. But three nice heifers here within this class.
Well, congratulations over here in the Junior Beefmaster ring. Results out of Class 2. First place exhibited by Turner Koonsman. Second place was exhibited by Bridger Etheridge. And third place, and congratulations, will go to Joseph Tran. We'll now welcome in Class 3 here in your first division of Junior Beefmasters.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Santa Gertrudis show here at Cattlemen's Congress. It's a pleasure to be here with the Santa Gertrudis breeders, and I certainly appreciate the invitation from Cattlemen's Congress to participate in this role. Two really nice efforts to start our Santa Gertrudis show this afternoon. There's some similarities, but yet certainly some differences as I see them. The heifer that I'm choosing to win the show today she really struck me in terms of from the ground up, in terms of the soundness of her foot, the size of foot she has, the amount of bone she has, and the soundness that she exhibits as she moves around the ring. You get on top of her, she's big top, she's wide based, and I just really appreciate the overall dimension that she has. I will admit that I certainly would like to smooth her up through her front end, tuck her in at the point of her shoulder, smooth that in ever so much, and that's where I think the heifer in second really has the advantage is in terms of femininity through her head, neck, and shoulders. She is also a really nice heifer, certainly not frail by any means, just doesn't have the same substance of foot and bone as the heifer in front of her. Maybe not the same quiet dimension as you get behind her and watch her move around the ring today. The two excellent females to start our show.
Well, congratulations over here in the Open Santa Gertrudis ring, and a good way to start out our show with Class 1. First place was exhibited by Luke Nelson with LN Mary Francis. Second place, congratulations, go to Landon Stern with Haley 213 over 23. We're now going to welcome in Class 2 for your Open Gert show.
think 4 very good heifers in this class, and as you try to study and break them down, I don't think there's a skeletal width problem. There's really not a volume problem amongst this group, and I think though when you do step in and get a big picture of the class, this one just grabs your attention and grabs it very very quickly. That one's a breeding piece in every sense of the word in terms of that kind of bone, that kind of stoutness of feature, but yet that elegant, that neat up front, that good in her look and good in her chest and the way everything proportions out. And when she does that and throws her ears forward, just again does a lot of good things there. If you're going to critique that one anywhere at all, and I don't think maybe it's a huge factor, but it's with that design, I'd tweak her up front ever so slightly to roll her head in terms of her feet and her knee. But that's minute because what she does everywhere else is just kind of neat to see. Female going to run here in second. And in terms of just function, I love this one. So pliable in her skeleton, so loose and comfortable in the way in which she moves and transitions. And I read her to be extremely proportional. Her front and her back, they all match and things go together. She has had the misfortune of being in here with one that's a little more unique in a place or two, and that's kind of what got her in the second hole. We can debate these next two and go back and forth on them. I feel like the hawk angle, even though I change it and make it a little prettier, it functions just a shade better than the red heifer. When this one comes together, though, I love the femininity of her head and her neck. I like where she is size-wise and just the honesty of what she is in terms of her condition. Just want to change her hip and rear leg posture, make her a little neater there. Big, big body tank that we close the class with, and it's hard to put, to me, the biggest volume cattle fourth here within this class, but with that, she's just a little coarser. Main thing for me, I want to change her hind leg just a little straighter for my liking in terms of her hind leg and the way she utilizes it. But again, awesome class. 4 very, very good heifers in this group.
Well, congratulations in Class 3 over here in the Junior Beefmaster Show. First place exhibited by Cal Tassin with KTCC Clarice. Second place was exhibited by Bridger Etheridge. Third place exhibited by Vicente Garza. And fourth place will go to Riley Denman. Now in the ring will be Class 4 here in your first division.
As we move into our second class of the Santa Gertrudis show, um, 2 heifers. I'm going to place the heifer that's to my right as first, and then the heifer behind her second. The heifer that wins the class just has so many qualities that you really have to admire. She does get a little bit PC to me at times, but the young lady certainly pulls her together when you get her stopped. I guess what strikes me first about her is just the overall design and balance of symmetry that she has. The turn to her top, the turn to her quarter, down into her stifle. She has really long spine, long bodied, has a deep sweeping rib cage, really good on her feet and legs, takes a long fluid stride, just really attractive and up-headed up through her front end. Again, puts a lot of things together very well, especially on the stand. Wish she kind of held together a little bit better as she moves around the ring, but still a very easy class winner. Very nice heifer that comes in second, just not as much of her as the heifer that stands in front of her. Not as much weight per day of age, maybe not quite as much depth of body, depth of flank as the heifer that wins the class. Not as much as when you get right behind her, but yet she's still very correct, very functional, very square in her overall design.
Well, congratulations. Back over here in the open girt ring, first place in Class 2, exhibited by Mabry Mikolacek with Watts Farms Kahlua L118. Reserve second place in that class. My apologies go to Connors College with CSC Iris 33.
Another good class, and again, quality all the way through in terms of having pieces to work with here. But I think the black heifer probably does the best job of taking the kind of skeletal width I like to see in these cattle and still blending that with the right kind of performance and depth and smoothness. When she parks and gets that one set up, her head and neck still come out of her, I think, in an attractive enough manner. She's still sound, laid back in her shoulders, set back in her knee properly. She's not as big footed, probably, as some of these other cattle in here. I like to maybe just change the posture of her hind leg ever so slightly just to give it a prettier look there. But just the combination, the totals, when you back off these cattle, she puts the most good together. This heifer here in second just most closely follows her in terms of the other deep sided, big bodied, high volume female in this class that really gives you a maternal, feminine look about her in terms of her length and the smoothness and the way things blend together. Very flat jointed and clean jointed. I like to open her up in her base a touch more for me, just make her a shot more powerful to jump that black heifer. And that's not a problem with this one. She's probably the most different one of the group. Extremely big centered, extremely big hip. She's the heaviest bone and the biggest footed one there as well. I want to correct the way she's designed right there in her shoulder and up front. She wants to maybe not reach out and go as comfortably as I like her to, but still one that's got a neat presence about her there. Darker red heifer here, really long-sided. She too has some boldness. Just hits you a touch shallower maybe than her contemporaries. Just want to make her a little softer and deeper. Then the heifer we end up closing with, she's probably as deep and smooth as anything out here. Just for me personally, personal preference, I like to see quite a bit more power and width and bone and stoutness in her to make her go a little higher. But again, a nice set of heifers here in this class.
Really interesting trio of heifers here in the Santa Gertrudis show. Each really outstanding, I think, in their respective attributes. I think there's a lot of cow power and development right here. I chose to lead with a heifer that thing just has a truly elite look and style to her for any registered breed of cattle. Just so smooth in all her junctures, ties together ever so neatly with the, like I said, really stylish, elite, high quality look from the top of her shoulders down her spine, hooks to pins, all the way down to the ground. If I could change her at all, that'd really be kind of on the left side of her front and rear legs. She wants to toe out on both sides. Kind of a interesting structural uh, point that I see there. I can tell from the way her hose are shaped, they're trying to correct that, and so I know that they are have recognized that. But a heifer that has a lot of foot and bone, moves around the ring, very free and easy. Yeah, again, just a lot of quality to her. Heifer in second, I admire a great deal. I think this is a real donor type of female in the making. Tremendous capacity and width to her down her top, her spring her rib and her quarter, really good on her feet and legs. Maybe just a little bit bolder at the point of her shoulder at this point, a little deeper in her chest floor. Some of the points I think that the female that wins the class really kind of excels is just in that elite smoothness up to her front end. But this is a female that has a lot of production, still a lot of quality to her that I like a great deal. Then the heifer that comes in third, again, very functional, really good on her feet and legs. She's giving the young man a bit of a hard time out here, but this is a really good Santa Gertrudis female that has made the Santa Gertrudis breed what it is today. So I think she's certainly a worthy show heifer. Just has two really, I think, really elite females ahead of her today.
Well, congratulations over in the Junior Beefmaster ring. Results out of Class 4. First place exhibited by Riley Purvis. Second place, and congratulations go to Brayley Cowan. Third place exhibited by Vicente Garza. Fourth place, and congratulations go to Santiago Garza. And fifth place went to Layla Smith. Now in the rings, your final class before division. Back over in the Gert ring, results out of Class 3. First place exhibited by Excel Santa Gertrudis. Second place was exhibited by Landon Stern. And third place went to Luke Nelson.
Another good class here, and again, lots of differences and changes in class leading advantages. But I think this one's just looseness and correctness at the ground is what seals the deal for me in this class. Neat outline, love her skeleton and the way it works in her upper skeleton, the comfort of her joints, the goodness of her feet are all very, very good and all pointed in the right direction. A little more shoulder, you could blend her in there. She's a bigger, longer bodied heifer, so she doesn't hit you as deep probably as and proportional as a heifer right in behind her. But we get these two on the move, and I just enjoy the way that one gets and goes and plants and pushes. Probably a little better than this one in second. The one here in second, my kind of body shape. I love that rib cage. I love the density of her, the squareness of her, and still one that reads very, very proportional from head all the way through. Just want to free her up and make her more correct back there off of her rear skeleton. Maybe doesn't have the same kind of looseness and skeletal posture on the move as what we find in that class leader. Long-sided heifer here we run in third. Very, very flat and neat in her shoulder, very long in her hip. Just want to open her up in terms of her base width, particularly up front in her chest. Maybe bring her down in her spine ever so slightly there as well. Big outline black heifer here that's got some neat pieces to her still. I love the length of hip. I like the length of body, but at the same time, maybe again, doesn't make her look as deep. And for me, I just want to open that one up when we get right in behind her, give her more width to accommodate that frame that she has. And I think if she does that as she gets older, she becomes a player in this class. Today, she's just a little shy of that, but four nice heifers all the same.
Well, congratulations in our final class over here in the Junior Beefmaster Show. In your calf division, first place exhibited by Holly Willis. Second place will go to Sophia Garza. Third place exhibited by Turner Koonsman. And fourth place went to Kenzie Willis. We'll now bring those first and seconds in, select the champion reserve, heifer calf.
A really challenging class of Santa Gertrudis heifers. These 6 individuals all have something to offer their breed and the cattle industry, I believe. To me, they kind of broke up into 3 pairs. I'm going to choose and then to start with these 2 heifers right in front of me. The darker red heifer, I just think is a real combination heifer in here, primarily first because of her soundness, the way she moves around the ring, her structural integrity from the ground up. She's deep body, bold sprung, really thick down her top and in her quarter. She's attractive through her head and shoulder. Certainly would like to change her up with the floor of her chest, lean her up if we could, ever so slightly, just to freshen her, give her a little bit more fresher appearance. The lighter red heifer that comes in second, certainly you have to admire the depth of body, depth of flank that she has, her overall capacity and dimension. She's just a real powerhouse out in this class. If I could change her at all, it'd really be just how she moves around the ring. She gets a little shorter strided as I view her today. I'd like to see her flex a little more, set down with a little more ease and comfort in her pasterns to beat the heifer that wins the class. But yet you can't deny the overall capacity and dimension and performance that she has. In our second pair of heifers, went back and forth on these. I chose to go with the heifer that I thought was a little cleaner in her underlying, cleaner through her chest floor, a little more extended up through her front end. Both heifers, in my opinion, get a little bit piecey behind their shoulders and their forerib, down their top. Certainly like to just tie them together a little bit better. But they have a lot of production, a lot of width down the top. You get behind them, they're thick with some dimension and expression of muscle. Just like to give them a little more depth and, like I said, tie them together a little nicer. The last pair of heifers, really nice in their own type and kind, just not as much of them, just not as much weight per day age, performance as the 4 heifers in front of them today, but yet they've got base width, they've got structural integrity, looseness in their overall skeletal design. Just with more time, I think they're going to make some outstanding Santa Gertrudis females.
I think an outstanding first division of these Beefmasters heifers, and really a good start here. And there's a neat way to start with the one that came right out of the gate here. Talk about skeletal correctness. I think she has it. Her feet, the shape of her feet, the position of them, and I think that's what facilitates everything else up high. Still stay square in her hop. I still like how robust she is in her body, but yet she still looks like a lady out here, thin necked and good in terms of her shoulder. You go to really nitpicking on her, and we start to compare to try to get this completely right out here. You can lengthen out of her hip ever so slightly relative to one in particular or a few others here, but just make her a little longer there, and that matches the proportion she reads with everywhere else. But again, I think joint wise, foot and leg quality wise, and just longevity, I see a big ceiling with this one. She's definitely in play within this division. Black heifer that came out of the next class. Again, love her feminine look, love her ladylike characteristics, good hind leg, pretty square when you get behind her. She's awfully green out here, and maybe doesn't stand up quite as much in terms of width and substance relative to everything around her, but still one that's deserving. I think it's got a good start to her. Be fun to develop her as well. Again, one of the different ones out here is the one out of this third class, and just I know we overuse the term unique, I think, but this one starts to do some of that kind of bone and the stoutness, but yet still feminine headed, still good in her neck. I like the body condition that she's in. She's bold and she's stout and developed, but yet that one still reads with some future and some longevity out here as well. We could be ultra critical on her and say she's not as long stepping when you get her on one side of the ring, but when she sees the out gate and wants to get to go, she actually picks herself up and goes. I'd still modify her shoulder angle ever so slightly, but I think if you did that, you wouldn't get the front end posture like she has. So give and take with her. Neat specimen here, though, amongst this division. Black and white heifer here. Again, love just how solid she is, smooth in terms of her body, their muscle type's right. Still one that reads broody about her head, but yet there's still some length. Maybe doesn't have the same kind of quality of hind leg and usage and bigness of feet we find in some of these other ones, but it's again a very, very good heifer. Probably as sound footed, as heavy bone, but yet still useful in structure as any, as this rebel that won that last class, and she can get and go for days. I still like her length and her boldness is good. You start to compare her and try to part. She's maybe not as wild her look and just her presence is what maybe some of these other ones are. She's one of those ones, though, the longer you study her, the more you respect that one, particularly because those feet and legs are so good. Still got some bone quality here. So to me, two of them stick out. Just kind of depending on what you want to do. One of them may have the edge in terms of staying completely like you like them to in their joints. The other one, to me, today just sticks out and sticks out for all the positive reasons. So, going to use this red heifer in the middle of the line to be our champion here in this division.
Well, congratulations over here in the Beefmaster ring. You're a calf division champion coming out of class 3 that was exhibited by Cattlemen.
Over here in the Santa Gertrudis show in our first division championship drive, 5 excellent individuals. I'm really excited to get back in here and compare all together. Just a few quick comments to summarize what we talked about in class. The heifer from the first division, I really appreciated the substance of bone and foot that she had when she walked in the ring, the soundness that she has, and from the ground up. If we could change her just to tighten her up, smooth her up at the point of her shoulder, and give her a bit more femininity and refinement up to her head, neck, and shoulders. Heifer from the second class, tremendous length of body, a lot of turn to her top, turn to her quarter. Out here, she may at times want to look a little tubular. Might like to soften her up just a bit, give her a little extra depth to her rib cage and her flank. But when the young lady gets her stop, she is certainly attractive and eye appealing out here. Heifer from the third class, just really sleek up through her front end. A lot of elegance that this heifer brings out here, not only through her front end, but down her top, the way she ties together in all her junctures to give her that really elite quality that we look for in a registered female. Takes a really long, fluid stride as she moves around the ring. As I did mention in class, I would like to see her square as she places down her left front and hind feet. But there's still so much capacity and dimension and eliteness to this heifer that I don't think she can be overlooked. A real powerhouse female that's just really complete. She won the largest class we've had out here today. A female that just tremendous bold sprung and depth of body, really good on her feet and legs. If we could change her, it might be just a smoother at the point of her shoulders, tuck her up in her chest floor. But that's being awfully critical on what I think is a really high performance Santa Gertrudis female. Then our heifer from the fifth class, we haven't talked her yet, but again, this is just a real powerhouse kind of female. A lot of muscle to her, a lot of dimension to her. If we could change her, it might be just again to sleek her up to her front ever so much to give her that really elite show heifer look. But if she is big footed, sound made, a lot of production and performance in her, fits in nicely into our championship drive. So again, congratulations to the exhibitors for bringing these young females out. We'll select our first champion of the afternoon.
Well, congratulations back over in the Junior Beefmaster ring. Your reserve champion that first division came out of class 1. That was Maddox McCollum. Now in the ring is class 6. And congratulations over here in the open Gert ring results out of your heifer calf division. Champion came from class 3. That was Excel Santa Gertrudis.
As our second place behind our division champion comes the ring. She certainly fits very nicely into this championship drive. Heifer that's very well balanced. A lot of the same dimension, capacity, shape of muscle, and soundness that the heifer from the class winner right behind her has. So to me, it's between those two heifers for our reserve division champion. Today, I'm going to choose to go with our heifer from class 4.
Thank you. And congratulations, reserve in that first division over here in the Gert ring. Coming out of class 4, that was Micah McCullochek with Malibu's Martini. We're now going to welcome in your next division in the Gert ring. This will be class 9.
What a nice pair as we lead into this next division, a Beefmaster cattle. And again, two nice heifers where dimensions really not an issue and not a problem, but this one that leads off does have extra there in terms of her depth and softness. I love how smooth she still lays in all of her parts and pieces and puts those together. Still a sound kind of cattle as you watch her go from the side. I like her extra length of hip there as well. You're going to get critical at heifer as she leaves you and goes behind. I'd widen and square her up from hop to ground ever so slightly there to really complete the picture. But boy, a neat one here from this vantage point that's got the right kind of look and balance to her. I still love the boldness of this heifer in second. Really, really good and dense in terms of her heart and her forerib and her center body. Still really stout from behind, but yet maybe gets a little rounder, a little coarser. And as we watch these two girls walk from the side, to me, she doesn't hold herself together with the same kind of length and presence as what your class winner does. But again, a good pair of cattle.
Single entry as we start our second division in the Santa Gertrudis show. And here we have just a real basic kind of foundation female. And I say basic in a very positive way, in just that she has all the fundamental parts, really sound from the ground up. Maybe doesn't tie together quite as neatly as some of the younger heifers that we've seen out here. A little bit of coarser at some of her points, but yet still has tremendous capacity and dimension to her.
Well, congratulations in Class 6 over here in the Junior Beefmaster ring. First place was exhibited by Braley Cowan, and second place, Goodabridger Etheridge. Now in the ring is Class 7 for your Junior Beefmaster show. Back over to the Girt ring. Results out of Class 9. First place exhibited by Michaela Terry with Polaris. We're now going to welcome in Class 10.
Another good trio of cattle here, and going to use this darker red heifer to win this class. Probably the one again that lands the most correctly at the surface. She's probably the most appropriate in terms of growth curve and size amongst this group. Still accommodates that with an incredible body shape and still has some hip and posture to her. Again, not extreme in any one area, but just reads very, very proportional as you get on and look at her. I could rotate her shoulder into her a little differently, maybe, but still a nice kind of a heifer. Heifer here in second, again, nice one in terms of breeding value. I love just the density of her body, the thickness when you get in behind her, and it's still one whose neck set is set at a positive manner and gives her some attractiveness here. She's just a little frail, starting to carry that little condition a little differently there as well. Just basically about like I was. I never was going to play basketball because I wasn't tall enough, and that's kind of her limitation and problem out here in the show ring as well. Big body one here that comes here in third. That's got some length and it's got some volume to her. She's the one I want to change the most at the surface, though. Maybe give her more strength and foot size to stabilize everything else she's got there up high in terms of her angularity. But three nice, good cattle here amongst this group.
Well, congratulations over here in the Beefmaster ring. Results out of Class 7. First place was exhibited by Kaylee Beeson. Second place went to Bryn Coldwell. And third place went to Kason Atkinson. We'll now welcome in Class 8.
The challenging class of three heifers. The first two heifers, a lot of give and take, in my opinion. To me, as they both walked in the ring, they had a lot of structural integrity, soundness, fluidity to their movement. Appreciated them both from the ground up. The heifer that's going to win the class, she does so because the extra boldness that she has down her top, from hooks to pins, the boldness in her springer rib, the depth of flank that she has. She is pushing the edge of fleshiness, as I would like to see. But for a heifer with this frame size at this stage, if you're going to show her appropriately, she probably needs to have that. She is giving up probably some refinement and femininity up through her head, neck, and shoulders compared to the heifer in second. And that's, I think, where the heifer where I really struggled with. She is fresher in overall appearance. She is leaner up through her head, neck, and shoulders, still long-bodied, really long and level down her top and spine, good from hooks to pins. You just get behind her and maybe didn't see quite as much natural width from behind as the heifer that wins the class. But again, a heifer I appreciate for where she is at this stage of her maturity and her overall design and phenotype. Heifer that is probably the leanest and in a good manner speaking, a heifer that's in third, really feminine up through her head, neck, and shoulders, clean through her chest floor and her overall design and finish right now, but doesn't have the same substance of bone as the two heifers in front of her. Not quite as much dimension and mass to her as the two heifers in front of her, but yet still a really attractive female.
Going to leave these two heifers like they came in, and two very, very high volume, very robust individuals. I think too that in terms of just shape and width and really cow power, they're both very, very good there. I think it's just very simple. There's more balance, there's more look, and the one that leads off the class just a little better and cleaner everywhere as you study her. And I think with that just exudes a little more of a feminine look amongst the two. The one here in second probably has the edge in weight per day of age and just a fine edge in terms of dimension, but she's a little coarser headed, a little more cresty, just not quite as ladylike in her look as the one that leads off the pair, but a good pair of cattle.
Well, congratulations over here in the Gert ring. Results out of Class 10. First place exhibited by Luke Nelson. Second place went to Pitchford Cattle. And third place to Connors College. Now in the ring is Class 11 before the division. Back over to the Junior Beefmaster ring. Results out of Class 8. First and second place, both exhibited by Kaylee Beeson. We'll now bring in Class 9.
just a single entry over here, but yet a heifer. I certainly, the thing deserves to have some comments made about her because she could certainly stand some competition. Really appreciate this overall structural integrity, the design fluidity that this heifer has when she comes in the ring, steps out on a big foot and bone. Maybe wants to kick out her right hind leg ever so slightly at times, but still, I think she's a female that you really appreciate overall skeletal design. She's very feminine up through her front 1/3. Appreciate the appropriate level of condition she has, the udder development that she has at this stage of maturity. Female again that just puts a lot of practicality and performance into a really attractive package.
Well, congratulations in the Gert ring. We're going to bring in those first and seconds. First place out of Class 11 was exhibited by Excel Santa Gertrudis. Entering the ring at this time are the first and seconds out of your yearling division.
Here in our next division drive, the San Gertrudis show, three females that, as they move into the ring, I think exhibit a lot of, again, as I keep saying, structural integrity, the way they move around the ring, the way they plant their feet down on all four corners. I really appreciate that. So that becomes almost kind of a mute point in my decision making at this, for this decision. Heifer that wins the first class in the division, really long bodied, long spine, has some dimension and turn to her quarter, doesn't have quite some of the refinement and femininity up through her head, neck, and shoulders, especially through her chest floor, as the two heifers behind her. But yet a very sound, practical female. Heifer that comes in from the second class won a very close placing in my mind. She did so because of the extra boldness she has to her rib cage, the depth of flank, the squareness she has coming from her shoulders into her forearm, down her top, from hooks to pins. She is just really thick and expressive. As we mentioned in class, might like to lean her up, maybe extend her out, make her a little more feminine up through her front 1/3. But a female that has just tremendous power out here and still does in this drive. As we come to our single entry, I think we have a female that is probably a tick more appropriate in her condition at this stage of maturity. She does have that added femininity and extension and refinement up to her front 1/3 that we might like to see in the heifer from the second class. We would like to make her bolder in her forerib, square as she comes from her shoulders into her top. But yet she is really deep bodied, bold sprung, deep in her flank, has nice development in her udder. You get behind her, she has tremendous natural width and dimension, and as we said, really good on her feet and legs. So there's some give and take in my decision here, but I think really another competitive division.
Well, congratulations over in the Gert ring. Your champion yearling heifer coming out of class 11. That was Excel Santa Gertrudis. Reserve champion to come out of class 10. That was Luke Nelson. We are waiting to get started on class 9 over here in the Junior Beefmaster show. If you're an exhibitor in class 9, please be making your way to the ringside.
So last. And then after that, That's a single entry in our senior division here, but what a pair this is. I think they could stand any amount and level of competition. To talk first about the cow, you got to love a female that has produced such a big, stout calf in her first time out and still is holding herself together this well, both from a condition standpoint, structural standpoint, overall elite look that she has as a registered female. Really refined up their front end, yet you come out her shoulder, she is bold sprung down her top, down into her lower rib cage. Really good on her feet and legs. It's ever so sound. Then, as we analyze this calf, this heifer calf, you can certainly see there was a planned mating that was done here based upon the similar qualities you see from her dam, but yet the difference you see that probably came from the sire that was chosen for her. I really appreciate this heifer calf for the turn to her top, the length of spine she has, the depth of body she already has, how good she is in her feet and her legs. She's maybe not quite at this point quite as sleek up to her front end as her mother is, but yet she is still a high quality individual, just with tremendous performance and substance to her. Congratulations to these breeders for developing and bringing out such a really attractive pair.
Well, congratulations back over in the Gert ring. Results out of class 15 in your senior female division. Your champion will go to Luke Nelson with SP Mary Alice. Well, at this time, we're going to bring in all those division champion and reserves, and our judge will select a grand and reserve grand champion female.
Interesting class, and in one of those classes of you've got to draw some lines of what's enough amongst these four, and then once you get comfortable, or really once you find the pieces that appease you, I think you can move forward with it. So if you wanted to jumble these up a bit from what I did, you probably wouldn't get a big argument. But to me, the one that hits me the hardest is this dark red one. Just the my kind of width and squareness of this one. I like her frame size in this class. I like her posture and her head and neck quality in this class. What's my hang up with her? Her hind leg. I like to make her a little freer, a little more comfortable in the way in which she moves. We're going to call her good enough amongst these four, but that's her limitation amongst this group. I tried to make this one the combination heifer of the class, but I still think there needs to be a little more to her. I love just the looseness of her structure. I like the comfort in which way she handles things. To me, though, we could still open that one up and relax her in the middle of her spine, but I do like the way she handles her lower joints and hock relative to your class winner. And then here's probably the problem child of the class is this one, because if you think she's good enough in her heart and full rib, if you think she's opened up enough from behind, that's the attractive, loose made one amongst this group. And if she's enough in those areas for you, she probably needs to lead off this group. For me, obviously, I thought I'd like to see quite a bit more to her, but that's an awesome picture, look of a presence that she gives you if she's stout enough for you. The black heifer that closes this group, obviously, she's the biggest bodied, she's the highest volume. Is she good enough looking for you? And that's where my concession with her is. I like to make her more extended, a little cleaner everywhere, lengthen her out of her hip, but I do love the big volume in that female. So four nice heifers, you can shake them up a lot of different ways.
So please join me in congratulating our St. Gertrudis breeders on their 3 division champions out here. They brought an outstanding set, small show today. Yeah, still high quality set. Please give them a round of applause. You growing up in deep South Texas, down the Rio Grande Valley, actually Santa Gertrudis was the first breed that ever really registered with me in my mind. But part of that being because of my great grandfather and great uncle were Santa Gertrudis breeders. I had an uncle as I was growing up that was a Santa Gertrudis breeder. So it's a breed that has always been in my cognizance and something that I've always appreciated where they stand particularly in the cattle industry of Texas and the history of Texas too. So it's a real honor to be here for y'all today, and I appreciate Cattlemen's Congress invitation and the Santa Gertrudis Association and breeders for allowing me to evaluate your cattle. Talking about the 3 division winners that are out here, the heifer that won our junior heifer calf division, truly elite female. As you view her from the side, the overall profile that she strikes out here. Not only is she just a striking silhouette, she's a female that has so much substance to her in every dimension, every capacity. I truly probably a genetic feat to breed a female like this of any breed. So one I really admire out here. Heifer from our 2nd division, just tremendous capacity, really good on her feet and legs, a real production-oriented look to her. Feminine female that's a really appropriate in her condition. If we could change her, it'd probably be just to tighten her behind her shoulders just so much, tighten her up on her forerib, strengthen her up right behind her shoulders as she moves into her loin. But yeah, a female that won a very competitive division and that I admire for this overall maternal look that she has. Then our pair, there was a single entry from the senior division. I expect that they've encountered some other competition throughout her career and stood the test to that. Female that we talked about, you just love the overall balance and design and elite look that she has in every capacity. A female that was, I think, very strategically to produce the heifer calf that she has on her side. Female that just has a lot of power and dimension, overall production to her. Really good on her feet and legs. Has a bright future to her. I'm sure each of these breeders are excited about what they produced, the future that they have, and the halter in front of them right now. So again, my hats off to you. It's been a really fun set of cattle to evaluate, and I'm go select your grand champion today.
Well, congratulations, your grand champion female come out of our senior division. That was Luke Nelson with SP Mary Alice. And congratulations, reserve champion. Coming out of class 3, that was back number 1017, Excel Santa Gertrudis with XL's Glittering Gold 370. We're now going to bring in your best of the pulled females. This will be class 4. Back over in the Beefmaster ring, we have the results from Class 9. First place was exhibited by Paige Dupree. Second place went to Sarah Cole. Third place will go to Brayley Cowan. And fourth place went to Cannon Edwards. Now the ring's your final class before the division.
Another good class and a good trio here. And again, there's some different advantages in terms of just class leading advantages each one of these females can claim. But again, you get to the big picture and just look at them, and balance and symmetry and quality of lines, I think, belongs to our class winner. She's easily the most correctly structured one amongst this group as well, in terms of where her knee and shoulder are in relation to the rest of her body shape and when she comes back. She's the most ideal amongst this group in terms of her hind leg placement and her foot there. She's stout enough, yes, but I'd still maybe open her up at her base for me personally, just to make her that much more ideal. But love her look, love her presence. Her hair quality doesn't hurt a thing either in terms of her skin and hide. These next two we can go back and forth on. Just a little more my speed of the two. The one here in second. She toes ahead a little more correctly. Her moderation I like. I like the body shape of this female, and she's a class leader in just width and substance, and maybe that's the advantage she even has over our class winner that I like about her. We get these three in motion. I want to change her hind leg and the way she handles it, particularly out of her hock, and make her more secure in the way she sets down. The black and white one here has the right kind of length and extension. I like her head and neck posture as it sets really high on her shoulder. Want to change her right in behind her shoulder. Want to toe her head a little more correctly in terms of her structure and just loosen her ever so slightly as she gets and goes. But three quality heifers here within this group.
Well, congratulations in Class 10. This will be your final class before the division. First place was exhibited by Maddox McCollum with MX Corey 211K. Second place was exhibited by Sofia Garza. And third place went to Vicente Garza. We're now going to bring in your first and seconds, and our judge, Mr. Brandon Callis, will select his junior division reserve champion and reserve. Well, congratulations over here in the Gert Ring. The best of the pulled females will go to Pitchford Cattle. We are headed to the backdrop over here in the Gert Ring. We'll get started with your bull show here in just a couple minutes.
Another nice division. Again, maybe not as clear cut as the last division was, but still very, very good cattle out here. This first class winner, again, we just get them from the side profile when she cooperates. You love that one's look and her presence and her profile, the amount of depth of body that she puts together, but yet still has that projection of length up front and smoothness to her shoulder is very, very ideal and good. Her length of hip you really enjoy there as well. I like to just fix her again from hock to ground and her feet, and when she goes from behind to make her that much more comfortable, more stable as she goes. That class two winner again, compositionally, she may be as good as any in terms of just her boldness and freshness out here. Has some shape to her. She probably reads as proportional as anything. Yes, she's got some shoulder, but you get in behind her and there's still some hip and some power to go along with that. So it makes sense here. You get out here on this vantage point, maybe she's not quite as high necked and quite as set in her shoulder as really heifers on either side of her. But I think there's just a lot of good in that one still, just from a brood cow basics and fundamental. She's one of the truly good structured ones here amongst this group as well. Easy one to look at here in the third class. Again, really good in terms of her head and neck set. Still accommodates that with some power and some body and some boldness there as well. There's times I want to change the way she handles the rear leg when she gets on the move, but still a very, very neat heifer. It's got a lot of positives there going for her as well. Heifer that won that challenging class probably as wide and square and opened up in her base as any of them amongst this group. Just want to free her up off that hind leg still and make her a little more comfortable. Probably the most different one is the one that came out of that last class. Again, the longer you look at her, the more you like her, and then you start to compare and pick these things apart. Again, if you open her up for a guy like me, I think it's a clear cut decision. Still one that's just so smooth, so good in terms of her hip and posture. We get these ladies on the move, and to me, that's where she starts to excel amongst this group with just the correctness of her feet, where everything's parked in place. She's going to be our champion here amongst this division.
Well, congratulations, your junior division champion coming out of Class 10. That was Maddox McCollum with MX Corey 211K.
Over in the second in that class and she probably adds a little more shape and punch to the lineup in terms of just bulkiness and stoutness out here. Like I said, change her in her hock ever so slightly, make her a little different there. Probably the other one that suits me, probably doesn't suit everybody, but ground up, just building fundamental cattle that have some width and have some substance, have some proportion to them. I like this one out of the second class to be our reserve here in this division.
And congratulations, reserve junior champion coming out of Class 7. That was Kaylee Beeson with Lissy 112914. We're now going to go into your next division and final division in our Junior Beefmaster show. First class in the ring will be Class 11.
Not a good pair of cattle. Again, power width still not a problem with this pair. And when you really get to studying them as they get on the go and study their angles, to me this is the more comfortable heifer in terms of her lower joints. She's just a smoother blending heifer that puts things together in just a little more balance and smoother manner than maybe what this one in second. She's not as dynamic in terms of her shape. She's probably not even as really high in her neck set as what this one in second is. Just everything comes together. She's a little more functional in the way she sets to the surface. Heifer here in second. Eat in a lot of ways. Boy, I love the boldness of her. I like the stoutness of her hip, and when we gets her pulled together, she still gives you a very, very good look of attractiveness with her head and neck set. Just wish she handled her feet a little better. Just wish she was a little more comfortable up here, a little more comfortable in the way she sets down. But a good pair of cattle here in this group.
Well, congratulations in Class 11 over here in the Beefmaster ring. First place was exhibited by Riley Denman, and second place was exhibited by Santiago Garza. Now in the ring will be Class 12 here in your senior division.
A good class here, and again, black heifer here that leads off. I think it does so more and more. You look at these in terms of her stage where she is in gestation, her body shape she has, her length of hip, and still handles herself. I think in a skeletally, in a way that's skeletally correct enough here. You get her on the move though. I like to maybe make her transition from her shoulder to the rest of her body in a little more ideal fashion. She gets just a little weaker there, a little more pronounced about her shoulder, but I think again combines a lot of good things. The attractive heifer of class is the one here in second. Love her head and neck posture, love her femininity. Wish she was just a little higher volume, a little bolder when you get in behind her relative to your class winner here, but still nice heifer here. Big volume here. We run here in third. Lots of middle, lots of substance and softness to her. Just want to pretty her up about her head and neck there. Maybe just lengthen her out of her hip in proportion to the amount of body she has, but still wanted to handles herself, I think, in a functional way. It's got to be a little prettier. Really long spine, long hip, long sided one here that's got the right kind of look to her. Just wish she was softer. I wish she was a little deeper. If she was, she changes this quite past quite a bit. But again, four nice heifers here amongst this group.
Well, currently in the Santa Gertrudis ring, we're going to bring in all of those individual entries from our single classes to select a champion reserve bull calf.
Here up front still holds the advantage in terms of look and presence out here, particularly up front. She's a little lazy one in terms of movement, but I still think she handles herself well enough in terms of her length and comfort of movement. She's a little long-toed there. She's maybe not as dynamic in her hip and her pins as what the one right behind her is, but boy, from there forward, still a very high-quality individual. I like this one from about her midrib back especially well. I love just the stoutness of her. I love the boldness of her. Again, love her length of hip and her hip posture there. She's just a little coarser maybe in terms of the way she's designed. And even though to me her angles, I like to just soften her angles and her joints ever so slightly. The long-sided heifer of class is the one here in third. She offers the most extension. She's still good in terms of the shape of her feet. Just wish she was a little softer there to accommodate that, a little deeper there relative to those two in front of her. But again, good trio cattle.
Welcome back to our Santa Gertrudis show. As we continue on with our bulls, we have three what would be class winners here in our first division, ranging from a July calf to a December yearling to a September, call him 18-month-old bull. So quite a range of age to evaluate out here. So, but looking at these in terms of as if we'd already worked through several classes, and these were the class winners. We can judge each one based on where they should be at this stage of maturity, and then their own individual merits. So the calf that wins the first class, I mean, I think he would probably be on this lineup no matter what level of competition he had to get through to win a class. I think this is a truly unique young bull calf, really starting from the ground up, so square on all four corners, tremendous substance of bone and foot for a calf of this age, moving up into his skeletal frame, the way he ties together up at the top of his shoulders, down his top, the turn to his quarter, still with a lot of extension and quality up through his front 1/3, and an appropriate degree of masculinity at this stage for a young calf. So I think a really elite type of bull calf. Then our December yearling bull that's really good again as he moves around the ring. Good on his hind legs. I would like to maybe square him up with his front toes a bit if we could. But after that, he's really deep-sided, long spine, really flat through his shoulder structure with some extension up through his front end. You get behind him, he's got enough shape and dimension, I think, to make most cattlemen very, very pleased. Then a big performance individual in our third bull, tremendous base width from the ground up, really long spine, big top, good in his forerib as he comes from behind his shoulders and down his top. You get behind him, he certainly has a lot of meat and muscle packed into his frame. If I could change him, it'd really be in his hoof structure. I see some issues in the shape of his hoof, the direction of his hooves that I would certainly like to see better, but you get above that, this is an individual that you certainly have to admire. So some trade-offs, and again, in terms of age and maturity versus some of the elements of quality and structural integrity in these three individuals. So congratulations. We'll pick your first division champion here in the Bull Show.
Well, congratulations. Your champion bull calf comes from class 23. That was Excel Santa Gertrudis with XL's American Pharaoh 303 ET. And reserve champion came out of class 27. That was exhibited by Landon Stern. We're now going to welcome in your yearling bull division. Back over in the Beefmaster ring, results real quick out of class 13. First place exhibited by Santiago Garza. Second place went to Sofia Garza. Third place went to Turner Koonsman.
Here on the Beefmaster side, a nice set of cattle here. We're going to use the pair to lead off this class. That's a neat looking one. That kind of presence and posture of that one is really, really neat and intriguing. I still like that she has some dimension and some shape, some spread to her back when you get in behind her. Like the shape of her teats in terms of size again here, and gave a lot of those positive attributes, it looks like, to a young heifer calf there. So nice pair here leads off. Red one we're going to run here in second. I still love this one's quality still, or her presence, or her proportion still reads very, very good. And she's got some thickness and stoutness to her. Maybe clean up her udder, the texture of her teeth just a little more. She's probably not quite as skeletally as neat off of her rear skeleton as what the cow and the pair is, but a good set of cattle here in this class.
Well, congratulations over in the Junior Beefmaster ring. Results out of your final class here in our last division. First place went to back number 600. That was Cal Tassin with KTCC Elizabeth Kalani. And second place, and congratulations also to Cal Tassin. We're going to welcome in your first and seconds at this time. And our judge, Mr. Brandon Callis, will select his champion reserve from the senior division. Stop. Just relax.
And our second division of the Santa Gertrudis Bull Show. Two really different types of bulls that come out here as class winners. I'm going to choose today to go with the bull that's to my right from the first class. I really appreciate the more moderate frame that he has, the depth of body in relation to his frame size that he has, the length of spine, the turn over his top. You get behind him, he's really wide base from top to bottom, really good and square on his feet and legs, still with some nice extension and quality up through his front end. The bull is going to be a reserve in division, a big, powerful individual, a little bit larger frame than perhaps what suits me today. But again, you have to appreciate for the overall power and dimension and performance he has.
Well, congratulations in your yearling bull division for the Open Santa Gertrudis Show. Your champion exhibited by Morrisview Farm, and reserve champion will go to Michaela Terry. We're now going to welcome in your final class and division here in our Gert Bull Show.
Just a single entry in our senior division here in the Santa Gertrudis Bull Show, but a bull that I'm sure has had an outstanding show career. 3-year-old bull that just turned so in December, but yet has held together very well as he's matured. Really nice and tight and smooth up through his front end. Blends in very nicely into his forerib, into the turn of his top. Really long and level spine, long and level hip, a lot of power, dimension, expression of muscle when you get behind him. Bullet stands on a large substance of foot and bone. If we could change him, it might be just give him a little more base width in his chest floor. Square up as he stands up front too. His sheath is probably acceptable in terms of the length of sheath, the direction of it. But again, a bull that you just have to appreciate for his overall design and balance and symmetry. So it's going to be a really interesting choice as we come back out here for the Grand Champion Drive.
Well, congratulations over here in the Gert Ring results out of our Senior Bull division. Your champion will go to back number 1048. That's Landon Stern with Zeus 1220. We're now going to bring in all of those division champion and reserves, and our judge will select his grand and reserve grand champion, Santa Gertrudis Bull.
Here in this division of Beefmasters, and a competitive and good division here. Led off very well in terms of just sheer width and power and smoothness with the one at the front of the line. She does that very, very well. Still handles her feet and legs in a very functional manner. There are a couple here that are probably just a little neater all the way through in terms of head and front end and neatness from that regard. But I think from shoulder back, she's very, very comfortable out here. She's very, very useful out here. I could personally give her a touch more bone, but boy, I respect that one's width and her substance and her proportion and the way she handles herself. The black heifer here, big, big square hip. She too is going to have a nice udder there. I like her length here. Just wants to open up in her shoulder a little more, and I think that shoulder maybe disrupts her balance just a touch in terms of the way she breaks right right behind it. But again, one that's good at the ground, has got some squareness and some width to her. Heifer here out of that third class, again, love her from her hoof. In terms of body shape is very, very good. Her density is good, her broodiness, and still head and neck attractiveness that you like. Like I said, clean her up on her feet just a little bit. She gets a little long-toed and just a little shorter hip relative to some others, but still one that's quality and that you have to notice and keep in the play amongst this group. Our pair down here, she's a different one of this group, not just because she has a calf, but just in terms of look and presence. Still one whose head and neck set's good, and typically ones that are built like her maybe don't come as wide from behind, but she's still square in her hip and pins. She's still good in terms of the dimension of her center body there. Got a promising heifer calf there at side. So a lot of good cattle here for me. The pair does kind of stick out and grab you every time you look at her. Going to use her to be our champion here. Going to come back to the front of our line and the young lady up front to be reserved.
Well, congratulations over here in the Beefmaster ring. Your senior division champion comes out of class 14. That was exhibited by Cal Tassin. Reserve champion will come out of class 11. That was exhibited by Riley Denman. We're now going to go into your grand drive over here in a junior Beefmaster show.
As we conclude our Santa Gertrudis Bull Show, please join me in congratulating the Santa Gertrudis breeders for bringing some outstanding herd sire and examples for the Santa Gertrudis breed. Let's give them a round of applause. Three really different types of individuals out here. Um, And I'm also keeping in mind that I want the Santa Gertrudis breed to have a really uh, powerful and impressive individual to represent them tomorrow night in the Supreme selection. So I think y'all certainly have that in these three individuals. That the Santa Gertrudis breed would be proud to have any one of these go up against the other breed champions tomorrow night in the American Supreme. The calf that wins the first division, he struck me pretty hard when he first came in the ring. I think he might be the most structurally correct true individual that we've seen all day in this show. From the way he sets his feet down and his skeletal design all the way up to his top, the quality, his style, and design he has, the shape of muscle for such a young bull. I think this bull could have a really deep impact on your breed. The individual that comes from our second division, I think this is the type of bull that just keeps the Santa Gertrudis breed in the place it is within the beef industry. A really moderate individual with lots of power and performance, muscle and dimension, really good in his underline, really correct on his feet and legs, a lot of masculinity about him. A bull that just really kind of, I think, can do a lot of good for a lot of different type cattlemen. Then our 3-year-old individual out here. This is really kind of what you'd like to see, a 3-year-old show bull at this point. A bull that has a lot of natural width, dimension, power, and performance. He's held himself together very well, still ties in really nice and neat up to his front end, carries that back into a big, bold top, lots of turn, shape, and dimension, expression of muscle in his quarter. I think, again, he's a bull that really hard and difficult to keep one together this fresh and this together when they're 3-year-old and been on the road this long. So congrats congratulations to those exhibitors for having achieved that. Thank you again for the invitation. I know there's been many comments made about Mr. Gerald Callahan and his legacy the last several weeks. Just one that I would like to extend and say is just thank you to him and the vision for Cattlemen's Congress to include the American breeds of cattle. Back in, I guess it was the fall of 2020, had a conversation with him and Miss Dorsey about the American breeds coming into Cattlemen's Congress and what that could mean for our part of the industry. And they invited us with all the American breeds with open arms and really made us have a place to exhibit our cattle and on a national stage here beyond just our historical shows. So again, thank you to Mr. Callahan for that and all of Cattlemen's Congress. With that, I'll go select your grand champion.
Well, congratulations, Grand Champion Bull coming from the senior division. That was exhibited by Landon Stern with Zeus 1220. And congratulations, your reserve grand champion coming out of that first division. That was back number 1040, Excel Santa Gertrudis with XL's American Pharaoh 303 ET. Again, congratulations to those exhibitors. We're now going to bring in your group classes. First class will be Protus of Dam.
Really a nice lineup of Beefmaster cattle, and then I'll reiterate what Alan said over there as well. Again, thank the Cattlemen's Congress for having me. I'm probably one of the few judges that gets to sleep in his bed every night while I'm here, and so it's fun to be the local guy that gets to come here and sort these, and particularly the American breeds. Growing up south of Houston, it makes my heart smile, makes me feel happy to see these things up here because we don't get to see them a whole lot. And so, really, a good quality set of these things. Really, really impressed here. Our calf division was a strong one, I thought, with two awesome representatives that came out of that calf division. And this one's just different. Just her look, her posture, her presence is awfully, awfully good. She pushes the envelope in terms of having some heaviness of bone, but I still think keeping her joint work right underneath her. She's extreme in her look and her length, but yet you get in behind her and still some power and some width to that particular female. So a neat one. It'd be interesting to see how these two start to manage and start to come together as they become big older heifers and breds. That's a fun pair to study. Our intermediate division winner here, again, one that's, again, in all honesty, hard to pick. Just a big thing that doesn't match or doesn't go with her. Smoothness is probably her biggest credit advantage. Her structural correctness and the looseness and the way she goes with her clean joints, I think, is a very, very positive thing for her. Again, got enough levelness, got enough look for most people, again, and obviously today, I think she's probably enough with, not maybe extra in any place, but a lot of things that fit together with that one and bring forth some quality. Same thing can kind of be said with her division mate there as well. And then a pair that came out of that last division, again, just a neat look and posture to her. I love just the look of quality she has and still has some dimension when you get behind her. Passed on a lot of neat stuff there to her calf there as well. Probably compared to all these. Obviously, she's in a little more of a working clothes than the other two, but more so, I does redesign her hind leg ever so slightly, maybe relative to some others here, but a good cow prospect on the other side of her there as well in terms of our reserve division. So good set of them here. I don't probably play poker because I don't hold my face very well. I think the little one came in early and I liked her. To me, I still like her today. She's going to be our champion here in the Beefmaster division. We start to searching for reserve and again thank everybody also and people that probably don't get thanked when you're at home trying to keep up with things. The video crew here, live auctions, my hats off to them for keeping things rolling through all the shows and keeping everybody informed at home out here. Our intermediate division here, nice heifer, too good to leave out. She'll be our reserve.
Well, congratulations, your champion. In our Junior Beefmaster show, exhibited by Cal Tassin with KTCC Clarice and Reserve Champion, and congratulations go to Maddox McCollum with MX Corey 211K. Also, a special thank you to our judge today, Mr. Brandon Callis. Attention to our Beefmaster exhibitors. We're going to take about a 10-minute break for photos before we get started with our open show here at the Cattlemen's Congress. Again, about a 10-minute break before starting the open Beefmaster show.
As we start our group classes in the Santa Gertrudis show, just a single entry in our produce a dam, but certainly two females that I liked a lot in the heifer show. And certainly put out here together, you can see their family resemblance there. So congratulations to these exhibitors. Those are two really elite, outstanding females. As they bring in the bull calf that I like so much from the bull show for the get a sire class. Yeah, just a really impressive trio of the Santa Gertrudis individuals, a lot of similarities and uniformity between them, both from a dam and a paternal standpoint. So congratulations to these breeders and their program.
Well, congratulations in our group classes. Your first place in a Produce Dam and Get of Sire will go to Excel Santa Gertrudis. We're going to get started with the Star 5 Open Female Show. We have just a few entries in this show. First class to come in will be Class 1. We'd like to remind all of our American breeds that all champions will show for Supreme tomorrow afternoon at 4 o'clock. Again, if you were a champion today, we are going to have our Supreme Drive tomorrow at 4 p.m. here in the Jim Norick Arena.
So we begin our Star 5 show for the Santa Gertrudis breed. Three really different individuals, but I think two that have the advantage of maturity in this class. And they're just more age and time on feed to get to this point in their maturity and their show career. The black female I like quite a bit from a lot of different standpoints. Her degree of condition she has at this stage of maturity, the freshness that she exhibits up to her front end, yet she has still really deep-sided, bold sprung, a lot of shape and dimension down her top and in her quarter, and then just really appreciate the squareness and correctness she has on her feet and legs. She's just a really cool individual from any breed. Then our red baldy female, this is really typical of what I remember growing up in South Texas, is those Santa Gertrudis red baldies. They're just a staple of the cattle industry down there, and this female is very emblematic of that. Really correct on her feet and legs, lots of capacity, dimension, performance, doability in her. She maybe is a little bit more wasty down her chest floor than the heifer that wins the class, but again, you can't take away the depth of body and power and performance that she has. A really nice female in her own right. And then our youngest heifer in the class just has the disadvantages of two more mature females right in front of her. But this young female has a lot of extension and femininity up through her front 1/3, yet still very balanced down her top and in her quarter, and for her frame and maturity, still deep sided and really sound on her feet and legs. Three good individuals.
Well, congratulations in the Star 5 Open Female Show Class 1. First place exhibited by Pitchford Cattle with Copperhead's Misassignment. Second place went to Demi Harrington. Third place to go to Michaela Terry. We're now going to welcome in Class 3.
Our next single entry class, female with a tremendous length of side, really level from hooks to pins, square and correct on her feet and legs. You might like to stouten her up just a little bit in her overall bone structure and skeletal design, but she's really a petted, feminine, clean made heifer that you really appreciate that about her. We'll see how she compares when we come back out. Congratulations.
Well, congratulations over in the Girt Ring. Results of Class 3. First place went to Connors College. Now in the rings, your final class of Star 5 females.
A really attractive pair that comes in to wind up the Star 5 show. You really appreciate the femininity that this young first calf heifer has. Again, tremendous long side, good down her top and her quarter. You get behind her, she is really square and thick, good on her feet and legs. I appreciate the other development she has, and you can tell she's doing a good job of milking a young heifer calf that I'm going to predict is going to be the carbon copy of her mother. Again, congratulations to this exhibitor. I think you've got a really neat looking pair.
And congratulations in Class 5. First place was exhibited by Morseview Farm. We'll now welcome in those first and second selected champion reserves, Star 5 female.
This has been a small but really interesting, high quality female show for the Star 5 breed, part of the San Gertrudis Association. Our the black heifer right here from the first division, just a really striking heifer. I think for any cattleman, no matter what breed you're part of, if you were to see her walk by, you're certainly going to do a double take and just admire her as she goes by. Again, as I mentioned in the division from the ground up, she's just so true and square in her skeletal design. But a female tremendously deep bodied, bold sprung, yet really feminine and fresh up through her front end. The female from the second class, her second division, really long sided, again, square on her feet and legs, but you'd like to just stouten her up on her overall skeletal design. But yet she's very appropriate and in her condition. You can tell there's a lot of longevity to this female, a lot of femininity. And then a really powerful, impressive pair that winds up the show. I think a mother and her calf that are just the calf. As I said, calf's gonna be a carbon copy of her mother. The young first calf heifer is really square, lots of base width as you study her from the ground up. Tremendously long-sided, is holding herself together very nicely, and I do admire that about her. And think this is just a really good kind of female. So again, let's congratulate these exhibitors, and I'll go select your champion Star 5.
Well, congratulations, Grand Champion Star 5 female here at the Cattlemen's Congress, exhibited by Pittsford Cattle with Copperhead Misassignment.
Our red baldy female that came reserve and division, certainly a powerfully constructed individual, bold sprung, deep sided, lots of power and dimension to her. To me today, maybe gets just a little fleshier in her overall appearance. I think if she could lean up just a little bit, you might like her even more, see a bit more longevity to her. But I do appreciate the squareness that she has in her skeletal design. I think she is a powerful female. But for me today, I'm going to go back to the pair for reserve grand champion.
And congratulations, the Reserve Grand Champion Star 5 female coming out of our final class. That was Morris View Farm with MV Maggie May. Again, congratulations to all of our Star 5 female exhibitors. We have 2 Star 5 bulls to see here in Ring 1. I do believe we're about ready to get started with our Open Beefmaster show. Your first class in is Get of Sire. We're going to get ready over here to start the Open Beefmaster Show in Ring 2. Your first class in will be Gat of Sire.
Two really impressive individuals in our Star 5 Bull Show. For our Grand Champion today, I'm going to go with the solid red bull here to my right. He is just a ground pounder. Just you can almost feel the ground shake when he walks around the ring. Really appreciate the modern frame he has and how he's packed that frame with a lot of power and meat and muscle. Still long-bodied, square on his feet and legs, good in his underline. If I could change him at all, might be just to ease him up a bit as he does take a long stride, but just like to see him flex a little more and feel a little more comfortable as he gets around the ring. But there's just no denying the overall product that he has out here and what he can do for a cow herd. If you're looking for a bull to really add some stature to your cow herd, a bull that has some length and height and yet still has a lot of top and muscle to him, then it's our red baldy bull that's going to be your reserve champion. He's good in his underline, square on his feet and legs. Just gets a little bit rounder in his overall design for me today. Maybe a bit more larger frame than perhaps my preference for the more modern frame bull that wins. But yet there's no denying the power and performance that he has here. Congratulations to both of the breeders.
Thank you.
Well, congratulations over here in the Gert Ring. Your champion Starfine Bull went to Creighton Cummings, back number 1046, reserve champion exhibited by Morseview Farm. That does conclude our Santa Gertrudis show here at the Cattlemen's Congress.